Hey, Dave. Just wanted to see if you're planning to play the starters this week.
It's a good question. Yeah.
No, I just sorry.
I'll say this. We'll do what's best for the team.
There you go, going. I'm not expecting much on this either, but Adoree, Aziz, and Leo. I mean, you expecting them to practice when Wednesday rolls around? Like, where are they at?
I'm expecting them to do stuff at practice. Yeah.
Okay.
How much? How much? A couple more days here, but I'm expecting them to do something. Each of them.
Okay. And then last one, Jared Davis. Obviously, you got a long look at him last night. What you saw, and is he a guy who could show enough yesterday to get a role in the playoffs?
Yeah, I thought he played well for only being here a short time. Understood what we asked him to do. I thought he made a lot of good plays out there. So, yeah, we'll continue to put him in there and see how he develops for us. But I thought he did a good job for us.
Thanks.
Yep.
Kim Jones.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Good, Kim. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I was wondering about your receiver core, the three main guys, and then I guess I would include Bellinger in that, whether you would or not. We could discuss maybe. But how has that group been good enough to really not hold your offense back, and it seems from a distance to really grow during this season?
Well, I'd say they're smart, tough, and dependable. They know what we expect out of them. They don't really make a lot of mental errors. They know exactly what to do. They've made plays when the balls come their way. I think the quarterback has a lot of trust in them. There's a good feel for their body language and how they run routes, and I think they do a good job of working on that with him. So, and I'm including Daniel, even though he had that span where he got hit in the eye and was off some, but dependable group that works really hard and selfless, which is important. They don't really care how many they get, just as long as they're helping contribute to our success.
Is there any chance Kenny, after yesterday, finally that touchdown, can work himself back into that group in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll go out there and, Kenny's worked hard since he's been here. Those three guys have done a good job for us. So, again, every week's a different plan, a different way we want to do things. So, I think everything's on the table.
Thank you.
Yep.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, a couple of things asking about you a little bit here. How do you think that your playoff experience, not as a head coach, but for many different teams in the league, many different years, will help you prepare your team this week?
Well, I think everybody just has a job to do. It's the same as week 1 as it is week 5, as it is the end of the year. Obviously, the stakes are a little different. If you lose a game, you go home. So, again, every year is different. Every year that I've been privileged to be part of the playoffs has been different. A lot of different circumstances, different games, how many you played. And what I've learned, Paul, is none of that really matters. What matters is how you go and play the game on Sunday. So our preparation, our consistent way we do things, that's all going to be important to us in terms of the process, and then ultimately going out there and executing. And, again, I've been part of a lot of them, but they're all different. So, the losses really hurt. They probably hurt more than the happiness of the wins in the playoffs. But in terms of my overall experience, I'd say I have a lot of coaches on our staff that have some too. But I talked to those guys already. It's what we do this week. I think everybody understands that. It's what we do this week, and ultimately how we go out there and play in the game. Because what wins in week 1 wins in the playoffs, and what loses in week 1 loses in the playoffs.
One more quick one is:
Sure.
do you think your career has gone ascended to where you want it to be as far as being a head coach, but it wasn't a straight line? You know what I mean? As opposed to maybe some other guys who got it quick. Do you think some of your failures or failed, maybe not your failures, but ups and downs have helped you become the head coach that was ready for this right now?
Well, I would just say in general, failures help. They don't help when you're in the middle of them, but you certainly learn a lot from things that didn't go as well. I certainly have, and I've had plenty of them, and I know I'll have plenty more. But you learn a lot from the failures. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bob Brookover.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Bob.
How would you describe what your rookies have contributed to this team? And they don't have playoff experience, obviously, but can those kind of guys, the one that always comes to mind to me is Malcolm Butler, can those kind of guys make a real difference in these kind of games?
Well, I think anybody can make a difference. It's how you play and how you prepare, and that's what I've learned. There's so many things that happen in a game, and there's far fewer games now. There's really one. That's all you're guaranteed. Everybody's only guaranteed one. The teams that made this tournament, and everybody needs to contribute. Bob, I can't tell you who it's going to be or not going to be. A rookie, a 10-year veteran, a 4-year guy. You got about call it 65, 70 plays on both sides of the ball, and then in the kicking game, you got to have your best stuff and you got to play your best.
And how, to go back to the original question, how have you felt about this rookie class and where they're at right now in terms of being able to contribute in games like this?
Yeah, the guys that have been, they're really not rookies. It's almost like they've been through 2 college seasons with the preseason too. So they're a big part of what we do. I think they've improved just like a lot of the players have improved, and we're going to need everybody.
Thank you.
You got it.
Patty Traina.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Patty. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Coach, with the playoffs, obviously...
Patty, you can call me Dabes. That's okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Obviously, with the playoffs, it's you're in a situation where it's going to be one and done, and the pressure is going to be cranked up. I'm just wondering, how are you going to approach talking to the team, especially those who have never been in the playoffs before, so that they stay kind of loose and not get so uptight to where maybe they make mistakes down the line?
Yeah, I just think we really believe in our process, Patty, and being consistent, whether that's a preseason game, a game you have to win to get into the playoffs, a division game. I think that, throughout the season you go through a lot of different things. To Paul's questions, you go through some failures, you go through some successes, you go through some tough games on the road when everybody's against you. You go through some big games, whether that's a night game on a Sunday night, against a division opponent, or a Thanksgiving. You've went through these experiences, and each week you learn, and you might not learn for that necessary next game, but I think those collective experiences, you lean on those. But in terms of our preparation for our players, for our coaches, it's a boring word, but it'll be consistent. We believe in what we do. We believe in how we do it. And then we have to go out there and, execute and call a good game and make good decisions. And, again, what wins in week 1 wins in the playoffs. And that's the truth.
And then one more, if I may. You just saw the Vikings a couple of weeks ago. How do you balance, changing things up, determining what to change up? Do you just focus on, what you need to correct? I mean, how do you kind of approach it from a perspective?
I'd say the same way we did against Washington. We had 2 games with them in a matter of 3 weeks, I think. I know Minnesota's certainly looking at our game. We're looking at our game. There's only so much tape to watch. There's only a couple games after our game. So, you start with, what you think, just like any other game, what you think will be successful for you, and, try to eliminate some of the things they do really well, which there's a lot of them. So we'll have our work cut out for us, but our preparation of how we go about game planning, practicing, all those things will be, very consistent for our players. That's what I think you need to do this time of year. I think everybody understands the stakes of these games. The process is really more important to me.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it. There you go.
Art Stapleton.
Hey, Dave, what's
Hey,
going
Art.
on?
How you doing, bud?
Good.
Good.
A little bit more on Jared Davis, but also what you guys are doing at inside linebacker. I mean, a lot of mixing and matching, kind of looking for the right fits, the right matchups. How much of that is possible because you have Xavier, obviously, in the beginning of the season, and then Julian taking over and being that signal caller on the back end? So traditionally, you'd see the linebacker having to come in and having to handle all those responsibilities, but you don't have that.
Right.
Does that help kind of try to accelerate the curve for some of these guys, and Jared in particular?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Never thought about it like that. The green dot is really just communicating a call from Wink to the rest of the defense. I would just say that, the guys that we have brought in, whether that be Jalen, Jared Davis, or LC, who's played some, I mean, they were all pretty productive players at one point in their career. Whether it be high draft pick, productive in the league, I think they're all good players. And obviously McFadden we drafted, so Eggs does a good job with all those guys. Obviously linebacker, you got a lot to learn, but we've caught them up to speed the best we can. In terms of the green dot, not the green dot, I don't know. You'd have to probably ask them how they feel about it. I understand the question, but I think they've done a good job of acclimating themselves to what we do. And Davis did a really good job yesterday.
Thanks.
Yep.
Ian O'Connor.
Hey, Brian. After the Galladay touchdown, the camera showed you go right over to him, sit down next to him, put your arm around him. I'm just wondering and obviously the cameras caught you with different interactions with players on the sidelines this year, but is showing humanity an important part of your coaching approach, particularly with a player who has struggled for most of his time in New York?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, getting to know the guys. I have a wide variety of emotions I think I show. This one was more just, was proud of the young man. He made a great play. I asked him if he thought we'd have cheesesteaks after the, when we got out in the buses, but no. I think, I respect all of our players. Every player has a different journey. Every player goes through different things, and, he's certainly a guy that I respect a lot.
Jordan Renan.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jordan.
What do you make of your team's, for the most part, lack of playoff experience?
Not much. You just got to go play a game, get ready for a game, and, play and coach well.
You don't think it matters at all when players do or don't have it? Like, can it work as a benefit because they're sort of naive to what it is? Or do you think it's like a cold shock and it might take a few minutes for them to realize what they're in?
I don't know. I mean, I've been in so many different situations. The first year that I was part of a Super Bowl, the quarterback didn't have any playoff experience there at New England. Some of the guys did, some didn't. We had some experience at Buffalo. We, lost. I think it's really what you make out of it, Jordan, is the experience probably is overrated, to be honest with you. It's how you prepare, how you practice, and ultimately how you play the game and coach the game on whatever day it is. I've been around a lot of different teams that had varying levels of experience. Some a lot, some a little, some, not much. I know someone mentioned Malcolm Butler. I think really what matters is taking advantage of your opportunities when they come, and playing a good football game and coaching a good football game. I don't know if that answers your question, but I really think it's an overrated thing.
Real quick, then, how important is this? Do you view this experience in general for what you're trying to build here, or do you not see it as a big building block?
No, I didn't even thought about it. We're in the midst of our most important week of the season, just starting out, and really don't think about it at all, to be honest with you. I just think I think you'd make more out of it than it really is. Experience, not experience. I mean, the most important thing is playing and coaching well.
The reason I asked is kind of Buffalo did the same thing, right? When Sean got there and when Brandon got there, the first year they kind of made the playoffs, and it seems to be like, all right, that set the tone for what they were trying to build there.
Well, yeah, you always look. Your goal isn't to come out every season and be lousy. It's to improve and keep competing and win as many football games as you can. You know, our foundation is built on our consistency, our approach, our work ethic, how we do things on and off the field, all those type of things. And again, you know, like I say every week, I can live with the results. I don't like them. I can live with them if we're doing the right stuff. And I think we have a bunch of people in our building that try to do the right things on and off the field in every department. So I think the focus has to be where it's always at. It's this particular week. We're guaranteed one more week. That's it. So everything you got to do the right thing off the field, everything you got to do the right thing in the building, everything you got for practice, everything you got for meetings, prepare as hard as you can prepare and, you know, feel confident going into a game, and then go play and coach. And that's what it is to me.
We'll take 3 more. Ryan Dunleavy.
Hey, Daves, how are you?
Good, Ryan. How are you?
Good. 2 for you. Dexter Lawrence. Wink called him the centerpiece of his defense. But when you talk to team builders around the NFL, they always say like corners and edge rushers are the most important pieces. How do you feel about can a defensive tackle be that kind of centerpiece in today's NFL? And do you feel like he's been, you know, as valuable as anybody you've had?
Yeah, I think Dexter's been a really good team leader for us. He's been a good player for us. You know, I think different people build their teams different ways. You know, I think it's important to be strong up the middle. You know, Dexter's had a good season for us. I'm glad he's on our football team. You know, Leo's getting back, you know, healthier, so I think that those 2 guys have done a good job, and then I think Dre has developed some of these guys behind him. So obviously you want to be strong down the middle, whether that's, you know, your guard and centers, your defensive tackles. But, you know, Ryan, it's such a team game. You know, you have to – everybody's got to play well, and your best players have to play the best when it counts the most.
And then could you just talk, what's the player schedule? Are they not in the building today? Will they be tomorrow? And I'll be totally transparent, Dave. I'm asking because the last playoff game here, a bunch of players went on a trip that was highly publicized during their off day. Do they have any room to go anywhere, or are they pretty much kept here the next 2 days?
No, so they have treatment today. The guys, and most of the guys come in and get a workout or some treatment or take care of their bodies. Tomorrow will be a normal Tuesday for them, which will be the players' day off. And, you know, Wednesday will start up, and Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, since we're playing on Sunday, will be a normal week for us. Very consistent with how we've done things throughout the year. So I gave them today to get their bodies right, treatments, things like that, not knowing when exactly we would play right after the game, and then come in ready to go. But there's been a lot of guys in here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tina Cervasio.
Hi, Coach. I apologize if you were asked this way early. I had some audio problems initially. But I saw last night how Saquon said right after the Minnesota loss, he wanted a rematch with the Vikings. You guys get that. So what were your initial thoughts, just knowing that you now have the opportunity to play Minnesota again, and obviously with the higher stakes?
Next team on the list, you know, when you get to this time of year, you know, you don't really focus on brackets or, you know, you knew going into the game yesterday it could be one of 2 teams. Both teams are very good with very good records. One we have played and familiar with, much like I said earlier, kind of the Washington 3-week kind of deal there, where we played Washington, another team, and then Washington again. But, you know, it's a great environment up there, really good team, good coaching staff, competitive, won a lot of football games. So, you know, we got a lot of work to do.
Thank you.
You got it.
Last one here, Tom Canavan.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good, Tom. How are you?
Good. This is the first one's a really quick one. Having experienced the atmosphere in Minnesota, do you have to pump up the noise this week, or is it, we know what it's going to be like?
No, we pump it up every time we play on the road, and that's certainly one of the best venues we've played in. Loud, their fans are great, so certainly have to practice that.
Okay, and final one is the non-Giants question. I mean, did you watch the opening kickoff in Buffalo, and what was it like in your mind?
I did see it, and it was an electric atmosphere, and it was a very surreal moment. Yeah.